Hey everybody, this is Rusty again from Collector Auctions. I'm here on day 3 at Heroes Con. You can see the backdrop here in the background. You know where I am. This is day 3. Today's going to be dedicated to finally looking through comic walls, comic boxes, and I'm hoping to pick up some really good gems. I saw some stuff yesterday, but I didn't pull the trigger, so I'm hoping they're still there. So join me today. I'm going to finish up. I'm going to shoot some footage today. We're going to see what books I get, and we'll get this video out as soon as possible. We're going to be traveling after the show, so the video won't be coming out until a little bit later. But so it may come out tomorrow morning. I don't know yet, guys. But just join me. I hope you enjoy this day 3 at Heroes Con and enjoy the clips. Yeah.
It's so exciting, isn't it? Wow, yeah. Why is it uh-oh. He's got the eye of avocado. What are you going to do about that?
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed some of the footage right there. I didn't shoot a lot today at the con. Today was completely devoted to actually going through comic bins, boxes, looking at walls, trying to find some keys and everything. But I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through what I got today and some of the other things that I did today, and that's going to be about it. That'll be a wrap up to the show. I'll give you my final thoughts on the show after I'm finished here. But let's just start with, I actually did get one autograph today. I didn't think I was going to do this, but I had the book ready to go. So let me show you what I've got here. And again, it's got the painter's tape still on the bag, so I've got it here. Let's see what I'll show you what I've got. I've got Captain Marvel number 29, and you see we have Jim Starlin right down here in the corner. And like I said before, I did my research on where the artists signed some of their bigger books, and I knew that this was the spot that he normally signs. And we had a good joke about that. I told him, yeah, I kind of looked up where you were signing. He said, oh, that's why I made a white down there so I could sign it. And we know that he was pretty much kidding around with that and everything. But I had talked to him a little bit, and he said that he was not going to be up in Baltimore come this October. He really has been pretty much a regular there for years, but just like John Romita, it turns out he's going to be going to Italy to do some promotion work for Marvel in October. So there's two people that won't be coming to Comic-Con, or excuse me, to the Baltimore Comic-Con. So that was the only signature I got today, but I did actually pick up some really nice things right here. This is from the Artist's Choice. They are an art dealer, and I'll show you. I picked up 2 pages of original artwork. This is from Dale. It's Eaglesham, I believe that's his name. This is from Villains United. This is from a number of years ago, and I love that series. I love the artwork in there, especially when you can have, the characters that they were using, especially if you can show Catman in it, and you've got Deadshots there, and yeah, there's Catman right up there in costume and everything. And I love this series. It's one of those books that I stayed with the Secret Six, which is what followed this up. They were part of that. I think they carried it on for years. The story continued and everything. And for the longest time, this was the only book that I followed. After they did a 6-issue miniseries, and then they had one follow-up issue just as a special. But then they had a regular series for the Secret Six that went on for a while, and until they did the New 52, and they had all these restarts, and finally they just never brought it back. I think they kind of incorporated some of these characters into the Suicide Squad and everything, and it never was the same again. But I love the series, different characters. I'll move the artwork up just a little bit so you can see some of that wonderful detail there. But this is probably the 3rd page that I own from the series. So yeah, some very, very nice. Wasn't too expensive. They are artist representatives for a lot of different people. I encourage you to go to their website, the Artist Choice. You can look them up online, and they have a lot of art there, and they're actually probably one of the more reasonable dealers in art for prices. So I first saw them in person, I guess the last time I was in Charlotte, and I picked up some wonderful Steve Epting Captain America pages. And this time, they still had some of those pages left, but I kind of wanted to get these Villains United pages this time. So that was a nice pickup. And then pretty much the rest of it's going to be comic books here. So I'm going to go through, and I think I've got most of the dealers' names, so I'll let you know who I've got on some of these. And if I forget anybody's name on this, just reach out to me, and we'll do a recap video, and I'll make good on that. But the first place I went to was called Rebel Base Comics. Now, I don't know where they're based out of, but you guys can look it up. There's one of their stickers. And what caught my eye about this stand, they had a lot of great books and everything. Prices were reasonable. There wasn't much I was looking for on their wall I stopped, I looked, there were some things and everything. Prices may have been a little higher than I wanted to negotiate with, but what caught my eye was they had stands out front that had all the Marvel facsimile books that, you know how much I love the facsimiles. So I'll show you what I got real quick here. I picked up 3 copies. I'm sorry about the light there. We got Hulk 181. These are all facsimiles and everything. And I've gotten this graded before. I've only had 1 copy of this, and I actually got it graded as a 9.8. And you guys may ask, why, Russ, why are you getting this done? They're not worth anything. Oh, they're not the real thing. It's like, well, no, they're not. But they're their own comic book. And believe it or not, a 9.8 can be a $100, $125 value book. And that's just like any other comic book that you may be speccing on for that value. I did pick up a new issue, or a new copy of the facsimile to Tomb of Dracula number 10. First appearance of Blade. And first issue of The Incredible Hulk. And again, I'm sorry about the light here. I'm at one of my other properties doing this right here. We actually didn't make it all the way home. This is sort of the home away from home here. So that's why we have a different background and everything. And then they had Giant Size X-Men number 1, the facsimile. And every one of these I've gotten graded already as 9.8. So I think I actually sold the Tomb of Dracula. So as I said, there's definitely value in these things on some of the facsimiles. Not every facsimile will have that, but these are monster key books that they're facsimiles of. So being that, it's just, it kind of makes sense that you can still get some good value out of this. I mean, I wasn't paying more than $5 to $10 on some of these. And I actually went through their bins a little bit. And it's funny, I didn't go through a lot of bins at this show. I wasn't looking for too many small books, but they had a couple boxes of really good key books. And there was a fellow with his family there, and boy, they stood there forever going through the boxes, and the kids were kind of around him and blocked me out of all the other boxes that were right beside him. So I sort of just had to hold back a little bit. So I started going through some of the other boxes, and I found a couple of things that I have really liked. And both of these are really good high grade copies, it looks like. But I've got a copy of The Thing, #1. And then I picked up a copy of Legends, #1. And of course, this is the first appearance of Amanda Waller as well. So this is definitely a key comic right here. I've gotten 9/8 on this book before. The Thing is one I think I've got it out for grading, because I bought another copy at another show, and it was definitely high grade as well. And if you can pull a 9/8 on a book like that, that's actually got some really good return on it. Whereas if it starts dropping down to that 9.6, 9.4, then it really will fall off real quick. But that was just a real basic pull. But let's get into the meat of this, and I will go through this. And I'm looking at here. I don't have any particular order, so let's just start with a couple guys that were there. They have a little company called Rusted Knight Comics, and they had their own books. Both fellows had both books, their own books and everything, and they were sharing space, but they have their own little company, so they work together and everything. So if I mix the books up here a little bit, sorry about that, but I'll show you what I picked up. A really nice high-grade copy of Fantastic Four 243. You've seen this in some of my previous videos. I've pressed this before, got 9/8 on it. I've got high hopes for this one. They had a copy of Next Men #14. And if you know what this is the first cameo of Hellboy. And it's really, you gotta look for it a little bit, but it's there. And I picked up Marvel 2-in-1 #42. This is part of that Project Pegasus storyline that starts, I don't know if it actually starts in this issue or not, but I know that they do the whole Project Pegasus thing in the 50s. I want to say 53 through 58 maybe, but you got some beautiful George Perez cover here. I'm not sure who does the interior in this, and none of these were too expensive or anything. This is the second one I picked up in the last month or so. It's the Spider-Man annual where he gets married. This is the variant with Peter Parker and Mary Jane and his friends and family in the background. And I've got a price tag on this, but this isn't exactly what I paid for this copy, but it looks like a real nice high grade of 267 Avengers here. This is the Council of Kangs that they've drawn from in the Loki series a little bit, and probably will continue to spec on, but a little bit of value in that. If I can get a 9/8 on this, I've struggled to get 9/8s on this book. I've gotten 9.6s and I've gotten lower grades too, so it's a mixed bag on that book, and I keep taking shots at it. All right, and then I picked up a really nice, looked like a really clean copy of Superman 423. It's part of the last Superman story that Alan Moore did, and I've owned this. It's in my collection. I haven't looked at it in years, but I saw this and it wasn't that expensive, so it looked really nice and high grade. So I figured, I don't know if there's a lot of spec on this or not, but it's a book that I like and I'd like to have a really good copy of. All right, now this is a book. It has a little rough around the edges, but overall it presents really well. I think it's going to press out nicely. A little bit of dry cleaning will help it out, but it's Daredevil #111. This is the first appearance of the Silver Samurai, and yeah, just awesome book and everything. I own this. I've owned this for years, and I own a really good copy. And I'm not sure if I've actually sent it in the CGC yet or not, but this is a really nice copy. I don't know. I may keep that one raw for a little bit. It has a little rough down there in the bottom right hand corner, but yeah, it wasn't bad. And then they had a deal like if you bought more than $20 worth of stuff, you could roll a dice, and whatever the number came up, they had a box. You could, for me, I rolled a 4 off of this dice, and what you got to do is go through this box and pick up some free books. So I got 4 free books. So I picked up Ghost #1. Of course, this is the Adam Hughes creation and artwork. I own that book. I've owned that book before, but you can't go wrong with Adam Hughes artwork on things. Now this is Batman #50, and I didn't own this book previously, but I guess this is a Jim Lee variant, and that's absolutely gorgeous. And Jim Lee's going to be in Baltimore in October, so that might be a candidate to get signed. Knowing that Tom King actually shows up at these conventions locally as well in Baltimore. I picked up a copy of Internals #6. I don't think there's any spec on this, but I don't own many of the Internals books, so I went ahead and picked up a copy. It's a little rough, but I think it actually would press out really well. And then a personal favorite of mine is Amazing Man. This is issue #12, and if you recognize that, that's The Dark Knight, the new Robin. This is all from The Dark Knight Returns, of course. And I don't know why this book never really became even more valuable. I mean, this book literally came out, it has a cover date of December of '86. I mean, really, The Dark Knight Returns is going on right now, right during this right here. This was fantastic. So, yeah, I absolutely love that. And it's a nice high-grade copy there. All right, so that was from those guys. That was Rusted Knight. Where to next? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Yeah, it doesn't matter because I'm telling you, this is where it really picks up some steam. And what I did when I went into the show was I didn't want to do what I did at, let's say, Baltimore Comic Con, where I went in there and I was looking for, well, a lot of the Fantastic Four 243 that I picked up. That's a good example of the kind of books I was looking for. Books that I could buy them for $10, $20, $25 in that range, and maybe less, maybe a little bit more. We'll see. We're talking 80s to early 90s, Bronze Age, Copper Age, Marvels for the most part, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men, things that I could take and I could improve. I tried looking for low cost but high value, high return if you could get 9/8. And I've had some success, I've had some failures, but in this show, I wanted to go and I really wanted to hone in on much larger game this time. I wanted to get keys that I could do the same thing to. I could work on. I could press. I could improve the condition of and really increase the value of. I mean, I'm playing on a bigger ball field. I'm playing on center court. Well, almost center court in Wimbledon rather than the side courts, right? So let me just show you the books that I picked up. So we have a copy of Captain Marvel #26. I actually have this. I think it's coming in from Heritage Auctions. I bought I believe a 7.0 version of that at a really good price, but I know I wanted to get a really good copy of this at some point, even better than what I was going to buy. And I found this, and it's really nice. I mean, it's got some age to it. I think it'll press out really well. It won't be perfect or anything, but this is a nice high-grade copy of that. Of course, this is the first appearance of Thanos, cover appearance of Thanos on there, but it's got that classic Jim Starlin thing, which I just loved. I loved the way he drew the thing there. All right, moving on. So I bought that. Let me tell you who I got that from. There's a company or group called Almost Anything. Now, I don't know where most of these guys are out of, but I will throw it out there. Y'all want to look it up? That's good. They had a lot of great books, that one right there I keyed in on. I was that was a little late in the day when I bought that, so there were some other books I looked at there. They had a beautiful Spider-Man 122 that just was a little too rough for the price, so I put that in back. And they had a Fantastic Four 164, the first Crusader. Of course, that was eventually Quasar, of course, and good price, but again, just a little too rough for what I wanted. I want to get something like that is really good but needs some work, and that's what I'm looking for. And all of these have that kind of quality here. All right, now I've got one here. His place was called Bill's Books and More. And this was a real find because I'll show you what I was looking for first. And it was a copy of this right here. This was on my short list. I wasn't necessarily looking for it, but I found it at the previous seller that I was dealing with there, Rusted Knight Comics. They had a copy of this. And I know this is the Jenny Frison cover. This is the version. This is not the foil. But there's a lot of value in this, especially if you can pull a 9.8 on this. And I've seen the prices start coming down on these a little bit just because there's not anything in the news about something stealing the children. Once more production happens and it starts to air, this will probably get really hot again. So I've been looking for this, especially with the lower price value. And at Rusted Knight, they had a beautiful copy, and we were talking about the book, and I said, let's talk about the defects. And he said, it's really clean. And as we're talking, I turned it over and I'm looking at the edge right there at the corner, and I'm like, it's got some, it's kind of a soft corner. It's got rub on it. And it would be one of those, would it still meet that 9.8? So there's a question. And I kind of had to pass on that. And he understood it. He said, yeah, you're right. It's like he said he's going to have to go back and actually look at the price he's asking for it at this point. But he was good enough to tell me that like 2 dealers down from him at this show, there was somebody who had this as well. So I went off event after I dealt with those guys, and I went down and I took a look, and it took me a while to find it, but I ended up stopping off at this at Bill's Books and More, and they had tons of books. I mean, the way he had books on the shelf, it was, they were laid half over, books are layered on the shelves, so you could see the edge here, but so you had to kind of know your books, what you're looking for, and just tons of books, and it took forever to kind of sift through it and look at it really slowly. But I started looking, and I finally, he actually saw in my hand my little wish list, and I keep this little stack of papers here, and in that I keep the values of the books I want to get, what I should be paying for it, and what the values are, if they're graded. And I've got a little sheet right here that's got a ton of the Something Stealing the Children books. So if I ever run across it at a show, I have an idea of what it would sell for if it was ever graded 9.8 and what I should sort of be paying for it. But he had this at a even lower price than the original dealer, and he had 2 of these. And so I asked him if I took a look. He took this book. We took most of the books out because I picked up a few more too, because he had some really good books and the prices were really good too. And the other one had a nasty spine tick on the back, and he realizes, like, he knows what I'm doing. He knows that I'm getting these graded, and it's like I can't have that. So especially at the price I'm paying for these to begin with. So I picked up one of those, and let's just go through real quick. Just some common books here. Nothing special to write home about, but just something to throw in the box and read someday. But things like Tales of the Teen Titans 44. Nothing special. Nothing like the first appearance of Nightwing or the origin of Deathstroke or anything like that, right, guys? I mean, really clean copy with almost 0 spine ticks. I mean, nothing big here. Or a Wolverine #3 with the black cover that has 0 spine ticks on it. I mean, these are just nice common books that you would pick up in, small bins and stuff like that, right, guys? Or X-Men 133. I mean, just a absolute super nice copy. Again, just a throwaway copy, right? No spine ticks, super super tight. Maybe a little soft in the corners, but yeah, not bad, right? Like I said, throwaway copies of books. X-Men 134. Again, simple book, no spine ticks, but I think you guys are kind of getting the idea, the quality of books this guy had, that just absolutely, just stunning quality. He had picked up a collection that just absolutely, the books were fantastic. He told me the collector that sold him this collection literally would be buying 10 copies of everything practically, or maybe 11, and literally one was a reader, everything else bagged and boarded and never saw the light of day. And he's been going through the collection, and these are some of the things. And then the last one I picked up was X-Men 141, and this one's got a little bit of dirt rub right there, but super tight. There's no creases, there's no spine ticks, maybe some little creases, spine creases, but this is going to press out really beautiful. But this right here was probably the find of the show in terms of just overall quality versus the price that he was having these at. And even when he added everything up, he still gave me a discount, because this was not cheap. All joking aside, this was not cheap. So he actually cut the price down a lot. I am not displeased with what I got there, because I think eventually the return on investment on that one's going to be fantastic. All right, let's go. I got two more here that I picked up from. This one's from a company called 3 Keys Comics, and this is going to be funny because you've seen this a million times in my video. Rusty cannot go to a comic show without picking up this book, X-Men 213. Sometimes I can't. I have to pick up 212 too, but 213. But either one of those, if I find them and they look super good and a great price, I'm picking it up. And literally, he had a price tag of $15 on there. We'll see. I didn't really have him open this one up like I did the other books I've got here, but super clean cover. We'll take a chance on that. I mean, I guess you should take almost every book out, but at a certain point, I can't spend all day on less expensive books doing that. So, got another 213. It's like I can't go to a show without getting that at least once. But I ended up picking up, that's a pretty good comic, but I picked up some really nice books from this dealer. We got Captain Marvel number 27. And he had a fantastic price on this, considering this price has skyrocketed. It is with Star Fox or Arrows in this. I mean, I thought the price was fantastic. And if you look here, can you see the cover is actually, it's not, the cover is aligned right, and the staples in the right place and everything, but the back cover comes around the front a little bit. So you've got a white edge over here. And I'm thinking that this is going to press out really good, because you're not going to see, there's not going to be any color breaking spine ticks up along the spine right here. It's all white. So, and especially with this black cover. So I may end up really lucking out that the cover was not quite placed where it needs to be on this one. And then he had another really good copy, and both of these are great examples of books that I don't mind putting money into it. I don't need to pay top dollar or above top dollar to get the most perfect copy you can ever find. You guys know I clean and press. I got 3 presses going night and day sometimes. I can clean these books. I can bring these books up. And that's what I'm looking for, something that I can lean into and use my skills to bring it up. And the second one here, another copy of Savage She-Hulk #1. Just a super clean copy there. Maybe the corner down here is a little soft, but these corners are super tight, super crisp and sharp. So both of those issues are ones that I'm looking to really improve their current conditions. I'm going to get them up, and I did take both of these out. I took a look at the backs. The Captain Marvel has some creases in the back, but I think I'll be able to press every one of those out. It's nothing color breaking. I think it'll be really good. And then the last one I picked up from this dealer was Thor #1. Of course, this is timely with Jane Foster and Thor coming out this fall. This book right here, I literally just got this back from CGC. My personal copy that I had, I cleaned and pressed it, got it back, got a 9.8 on it, and promptly turned around and sold it. And again, I've got that tick that if I sell something and I still kind of want it, I go back out and get it. Who's to say that I won't do the exact same thing on this one too? The price may even go up even more if I can pull another 9.8. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed on that one. All right, and then the last comics that I picked up at Baltimore Comic Con, actually out of all of these right here, these were probably the first ones. I kind of went out of order. But these were the first ones, and the reason these were the first ones is at the very end of yesterday, when I had a chance to do a little bit of comic shopping, or at least looking through bins and walls and everything, I found this, and I found it at really good values compared to everybody else in that room. And again, books, well, two of these are books that I can improve, and I'll get to those in a second, but I ended up, he also, besides the one I'm going to show you in a second, he also had copies of early Something's Killing the Children and different prints. And what I'm talking about is that he had two copies of, this is issue #1, and hang on a sec. I think this is the 5th print. Hang on. Yeah, this is the 5th print. And he had two copies of that. And then he actually had number 2. He had the 3rd print. Sorry, my monitor's falling asleep. And I took all 3 of them. We took them out of the bags. You can see the bags are open here. And we took a look at the backs, and I ended up putting back number 2, the 3rd print. I put it back. It had a spine tick that I don't think I could have pressed it out. This has a kind of a cardstock cover. I don't know. I didn't want to take a chance, especially at that price, so I put it back. But I ended up taking both of these. And this has got a really good value. Now, I'm going to go and give you some prices on what a 9.8 can go for. I mean, I've seen it. This is not completely recent. I've had this list for a little bit, so prices might have changed a little bit, but I literally have a range of prices that range from about $172 all the way up to $349. So this is one of those, I'll probably get it graded. I will get it graded, and I may hold on to it a little bit until we get some of that news that shows about ready to come out, or casting, anything like that, that will put this back into the public's eye again. But the books that actually got me back to this dealer, and I don't have his information here, so if he sees the video and can reach out to me, I will do a follow-up, and we'll talk about it, and I'll spotlight him on the video. But he had copies of Wolverine #1, the Frank Miller Claremont miniseries, and the prices they had on here were really good. $120, $175. I didn't pay that. We worked a deal, and we got these prices down a little bit, especially since I bundled it with the Something's Killing the Children. Everybody else in that room who had a Wolverine #1 like this up there, and I shouldn't even say like this, because I tell you what, these are the 2 best copies I could find in that room. Every copy I had in there I found, and I looked at a lot, and those, yet today, and well, I should say yesterday and today, every one of them I looked at had spine ticks, or almost one spine tick that was going to knock it down. You're never going to get a 9.8 on this. I don't know if I'll get 9.8s on this. These, but they're spine basically spine tick free. And the backs look good. He's definitely got one of them graded a lot higher than the other, but both of them, in my mind, I think I can do something really good with this. And if in the end, if I only pull 9.6s out of both of these, I'll end up making my money back at some point, because I'll end up selling those, because I already own a 9.6. I don't want to keep adding that to my collection. I'll do that, and well, somebody else can enjoy that. But this is what got me back. That was the first thing I went and took a look at today, and it's the first thing I ended up buying, along with those other something skill in children. But anyway, guys, that's it. That is my haul for Baltimore Comic Con from the day 3. If you haven't watched day 1 and day 2, please do. You can go back and see all the great things that I got signed. A lot of things got signed, and yeah, it was an experience. My overall impression of Heroes Con was, it's just as good as I remember it from a couple years ago. They brought in the creators. It wasn't halfway done. It was really good. They really spread out the tables in the show. You never felt crowded. Even on Saturday, when it felt like it was a much more larger crowd than it was today. I couldn't tell, but because my head was in the box the whole time. But yesterday, it was definitely crowded, but it didn't feel like you were elbow to elbow. They really were trying to, I think they still had COVID concerns, and they really spread the tables out in the aisles, and there's plenty of walking room and everything. So that was really well done. I will be definitely back for next year. They've already had posters put out. It looks like Bill Sienkiewicz is going to be coming back. We'll see about that. Everybody knows that sometimes Bill doesn't always, I think he doesn't always come to the show sometimes, but definitely will go back no matter what. But as soon as I saw that, I was almost ready to buy tickets right there. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed all 3 days worth of videos, and got a little insight into the show. And if you ever get a chance in the next year and want to try it out, I encourage everyone to go give them a shot. And also go to Heroes Aren't Hard to Find. That's the store, the owner, this is their Comic-Con. So go visit their store. Their store is fantastic. I did a video a few weeks ago or a month ago where it spotlights my trip to North Carolina the first time a month ago, and I went to the store, and I show you some really good books that I bought, and you can look into cases, and you can see some wonderful Silver Age and Bronze Age books that are just absolutely, spanking. They are awesome and way out of my price range, but they've got some great books, and I encourage you guys to go down there and check them out. So, guys, that's it. I'm going to check out now. I am exhausted and just had a wonderful time. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you for the next one. Take care.